Welcome back to Pastoral Theology 590. Last time we talked about the heart of the pastor, which is the heart of the concept of pastoral theology. Today we're going to start talking about the nuts and the bolts of it. And I want to get down to the most basic issue of pastoral theology, which is one that for some reason has been lost in the modern church. It's the idea of visitation. If you haven't read Richard Baxter's Reformed Pastor, you need to, because Baxter really delves into this idea. The pastor needs to be moving amongst his flock. He needs to be engaging with them, talking to them, interacting with them, and that comes from visitation. Now, visitation, that includes hospital and home visitation, that includes pastoral phone calls, so on and so forth. But pastoral visitation to homes and hospitals is one of the very most important duties of the pastor. In some ways, it is on an equal level to preaching itself, because in these one-on-one or these pastor with a family conversations, what you're doing is you're building the bonds of community within the church. In pastoral visitation, you're going to have the opportunity to provide a healing, helping, guiding, and encouraging presence to those in need. If the people you're talking to are believers, you can remind them of God's care, of God's presence, and of God's help in time of need. If the people are unsaved, the pastor is going to be able to gently remind them of God's care and presence. They're going to be able to gently remind them of God's love and willingness to forgive and to save. People need their pastor's love. They need their pastor's prayer. They need their pastor's friendship, his understanding, his counsel, and his sympathy. Now, I have come up with a checklist of guidelines for pastoral visitation. I'm going to be typing all this up and I'm going to put it up in the comments section of these videos. I haven't got it typed up yet, but please write it down as well as get it in the comments when I get it up. I don't know which video it's going to go under, but it will be up, because these are visitation guidelines you need to keep in mind. This is stuff I have learned in 23 years of ministry. Now, pastoral visitation guidelines. Number one, remember that you are God's representative. You represent Christ to these people that you're talking about. So number two, you need to talk about God. Yes, you need to engage them where they're at. You need to know their family, their interests, and so on and so forth. But you need to constantly be bringing the conversation back to God and to Scripture and to so on and so forth. Three, you need to be friendly and casual, not stiff and formal. Too many pastors mess this up by coming in and relying on their title. Their reverend, their doctor, their father, their whatever. You need to be a person to them. Four, whenever you're hit with a situation you don't understand, depend on God for guidance. Sometimes it is better not to appear like you know absolutely everything. Trust the Lord to give you what you need to say. 5, express Christian joy. And 6 goes right along with it. Bring encouragement and hope to the people. 7, show love, concern, and personal interest. Talk to your church members about what they are interested in, not just what you are. 8, if they're not there, leave a card. If you make a call and they don't answer, leave a message. Shoot them a text message. 9, endeavor to meet the spiritual needs of the unsaved and edify the believer. 10, make sure your visit is brief. You don't need to make every visit a 2 and 3 hour long visit. It is better to visit one person 4 times a month for 15 minutes than once a month for an hour. Even though it is an equal amount of time, the frequency is more important than the length of visit because it reminds the people that you're there. And 11, read scripture and pray. Now, I've got a couple of Bible verses you can use when you do visitation. Verses to share with the sick. Psalm 8, 1 through 9. Psalm 23, verses 1 through 6. Psalm 46, verses 1 through 7. Psalm 96, verses 1 through 4. Psalm 118, verses 1 through 8. John 14, 1 through 6. John 14, 13 through 18. John 15, 15 through 17. Romans 5, 1 through 8. Romans 8, 26 through 39. Hebrews 4, 14 through 16. James 1, 2 through 6. James 5, 14 through 18. 1 John 5, 15. Now, if you're visiting with unbelievers, and you're going to end up in this scenario, I've got some verses you can share with them. Psalm 32, verses 1 through 5. Isaiah 55, 6 through 7. John 3, 16 through 18. Acts 3, 19. Romans 10, 9 through 13. Ephesians 2, 8 through 10. Ephesians 3, 14 through 21. 1 John 5, 9 through 13. Revelation 3, verse 20. Revelation 22, verse 17. Don't forget to do visitation. Engage with your flock. Be amongst your people. The shepherd doesn't just stand back and watch the sheep from a distance. The shepherd is always amongst his flock. Well, that's it for the day. So thank y'all and God bless. And I'll see you the next time if the Lord wills and the creeks don't rise. Amen.